Hey, what's up, nerdies? English Dave here for another episode of a Nerdy Bunch review. And I'm here with my co host Andrew, first time reviewer for the Nerdy Bunch. And we are here to review the Netflix original series, House of Ninjas. This was released on February 15th, 2024. And we decided we wanted to review it now. The synopsis is as follows. Years after retiring from their formidable ninja lives, a dysfunctional family must return to shadowy missions to counteract a string of looming threats. All right, we're going to go straight into it. Andrew.
No spoilers. Very hype. Very hype. I loved it. It wasn't perfect, but it was very good. Um, Internally, I kind of thought of it as like Brady Bunch meets Naruto, a live action. I just say that to me, and it covered all like the walks of life, right, from daily life to ninja life, very well. Great action. A lot deeper than I thought at first, right? The storyline definitely had some dark tones to it, which I think was really nice. There's some faves. No spoilers again, obviously, but Grandma's the best without saying much.
I would definitely agree with you. I really like the family dynamic. And I would add to Brady Bunch, I would say it has a touch of The Incredibles as well. Without spoiling, I think it reminded me of The Incredibles. I agree the ninja action is really fun, really cool, and it does kind of go from fun, light-hearted moments to really dark, brutal. This is definitely not for kids type shows. I think the family dynamic is done really well. There are characters that you do enjoy, like the grandma. I have some nitpicks with certain characters, but we'll get into that into spoilers. But overall, I think if you're into like good fun action, definitely into ninja stuff. Though this show says don't say ninja, it's shinobi, and I say highly recommended. Go watch it. It's out right now on Netflix, and then come back and listen to the full discussion on this podcast. And Andrew, let's get straight right into it. Okay, we're going to start off just talking about the family dynamics. I mentioned in the spoiler-free segment of this show, of this podcast that this is, and you mentioned this is almost like the Brady Bunch meets the Incredibles and things like that. Um, it's like the Incredibles when I say we start off with this, we open with a show with the family having completed a mission. Something happened 6 years ago, and in that mission,
Yep.
a member of the family was killed, and this has led to the family themselves. They don't do this ninja life anymore. So, what did you think about kind of being introduced to this family? But at the same time, we see that the father is trying to keep a normal life, but the rest of the family members, they say they're doing a normal life, but
Yeah.
actually they're still partaking secretly in
Yeah.
ninja actions. What did you think of the introduction to the family?
Yeah. So I love your Incredibles comparison because you're right. I think it was great to see different people, one, dealing with the grief, right, of the loss that you mentioned, but then either trying to get back to their daily lives or just realizing that, you know what, normal is not going to cut it for me, right? I feel like that was kind of the thing with the mom who was a kleptomaniac in the shops, the the sister. I need to start putting names right. Obviously, mom being Yoko, being the shop kleptomaniac. Nagi, the sister, she would steal art and then tell them they're going to put it back. So I thought there were cute touches just to kind of let us see like the realities of like people who retire from their careers, right? You can't just like hang up your boots, even though that's what the dad wants. Like a lot of them are just kind of torn between, all right, this is what I'm good at and this is what I'm supposed to do, right? So I really like that. Yeah, that was just a good slice of life mix in with like, okay, what do ninjas actually do, after hours, right? Which I thought was funny.
No, I agree. I think some of that family dynamic really did a good job of letting us know who they are as people. Like you said, some of the members want to kind of want aspects of that ninja life. Even if Haru, the second son, you get a sense that he doesn't want to be a ninja or a shinobi anymore, but he still doesn't necessarily want the normal life. You see him filling up the vending machines with his ninja skills and things like that. He has all these skills and doesn't have an
You know,
outlet
like
for
it's like,
it.
okay,
And I like that.
yeah,
I even like the youngest
misplaced
son,
energy.
and even the youngest son, right? He doesn't know about the ninja life, but he's getting to that age where he's noticing things and he's curious. It's like, the size of the house doesn't feel right, and he notices little things here and there. And he as a kid loves the ninja life, and I think that's one of the things I liked, where you see the public facing side of it. It's all ninjas and they're cool and they're fun, but then the secret side of it, you don't say the word ninja, they say shinobi. There's more respect, there's more of an old school style to
Shinobi.
yeah. And I think it does a good job of blending the old and the new. Let's go into the actual the company they work for, right? It's known as the BNM, the Bureau of Ninja Management. And I wanted to ask, what did you think of this whole style of presenting ninjas almost like the Secret Service? They're almost like spies, secret agents, right? I like that approach. What did you think of that approach?
So I liked it. My brain, I love comparisons for some reason, and I just thought like Agents of Shield at
Mm,
first, right? Just like in a way, not exactly, but like that was so that was nice, right? To have that in between, because we think these things, I think, right, as fans, like, all right, fine, there are ninjas and there's the world, but what's in between? What's the government doing? Like, does the government not know? Blah blah blah. But so I think that was good to kind of see that, okay, yeah, there are shadow organizations that are the bridge between the ninjas and the real world. And I do remember his name. That I just have to point out, one of the BNM guys. He has the deepest voice I've ever heard. Um, he literally he needs to be in an anime. Like if you watch the show, you know exactly what I'm talking about. His voice was just amazing. Um, but yeah, I like the whole bunch of them, because there was also the quirky one.
mhm,
And then like the leader was just a little bit calmer. So again, it was nice to see again. I guess different personalities still inside the BNM,
mhm,
right? Just to kind of put the like in between like the real world, like I said, and the shadow side of ninjas that we kind of don't know anything about, but have wondered how it's like regulated
mhm,
in a sense.
mhm.
So I enjoyed that aspect of it as well.
And of course, when it comes to narratives like this, something has to happen to bring the family back into the game, and that's done by when one of the head of the clan, the rival clan, the Fuma, the new head, the 19th leader Yosuke, he sets things into motion that gets the BNM attention, trying to bring the family in. And I love the idea that the agency slowly brings the family back in without, again, similar to the Incredibles, the dad has no idea what's going on. In this sense, it's flipped,
Mhm.
where the mom
Yeah.
is secretly taking missions, and he starts thinking that she's cheating on
Right.
him, like slowly recruiting the family members into this. And this is where we're introduced to the character of Karen. She's introduced as an investigative journalist trying to figure out what's going
Yeah.
on, and her path crosses with Haru.
Yes.
um, what did you think of
Yeah.
that character dynamic of Karen coming into it and kind of helping set things in motion with the family dynamics?
So Karen, you ready for my comparison?
Yes.
I thought of House of Cards. If you ever saw House of Cards, no
Okay.
spoilers for anybody who hasn't seen it, right? Yeah, I know the same journalist energy of like just like a go-getter journalist. Obviously, we also do Lewis Lane if you want
Mhm.
a
True.
more
True.
known comparison. But my point being, I like her energy of just being like from the beginning. I think we all knew that she didn't run into him in
No,
that restaurant.
of course not.
He seemed to be a little more like believing of that, but like, we all knew she did it. But I still think kudos to her. She played a shinobi, right, for a little bit, right. So I liked her addition, even up to was it the end of episode one where she was in the club and
Yes.
he saved her? I think that was the end of episode one,
Yeah.
right? If I'm not mistaken, yeah. So I think I like her addition to the story to also kind of give him Haru, that is, a reason to also be more of a person, right? Like, okay, kind of fall in love, kind of have butterflies in your stomach while you're figuring out this ninja thing, right? So it was definitely a good, like, real addition to the story, and I I laughed when he he burnt all her stuff,
I did
all her research.
I did
You,
like I thought that was interesting because there was times where and again, this is probably by design, it's not critique of the show itself, that her character would annoy me. But again, I think that's partly by design because she's been introduced to a world that she has no idea what she's getting herself into. But at times she's just like, why can't you just do this? And he's just like, you will get killed, lady. Like, this is real. This is not just a game. This is some real
but
shit.
she's like, no, she's like, what?
And like that kind of dynamic where he's reminded that
I very much agree.
part of the ninja life or the shinobi life is that he can't even have a girlfriend. He can't have anyone close to him. Everything is regulated and controlled. So through that, we kind of see that through line and what Haru's going through. And I think Haru is more like the thread of the narrative. He's almost like the main character, even though there's a family dynamic. And we find out, we mentioned the top of the podcast that the older brother had died in the mission. And as we watch the show, we realize what happened, and Haru blames himself. He is a ninja or shinobi that can't kill, and because he saved someone's life, that person's the one who killed his brother. What did you think of that reveal?
Just like Batman, he doesn't kill. So, I also agree with his non-killing. I'm one of those. So I feel like I felt for him doubly because of that, because it was very clear that he, like I said, he was the grand killer of his brother, essentially, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
By showing mercy to somebody who did not deserve mercy, let's be real. He ended up committing murder of his own kin. So it's nice to see that theme, I guess, probably throughout the whole show, kind of weigh on Haru, even to the end,
Hmm.
right? Even after he encounters Gaku 2.0.
Yes.
And I think that guilt is probably never going to leave him, but it's still the same. The reason I mentioned Batman is because I think part of the story element that makes us like Haru, or makes me like Haru, is that he's still sticking to his guns. You see, he still doesn't want to kill, even if he feels that he may be responsible for something. That does not mean he's changing his ideals or what he stands on. So I find that interesting, and I really do want to see where he goes with season 2, right?
Hmm.
Because if it does get brought back, which let's hope it does, there's a lot of ways they can take that. Like, is he healing? Is he still bottling up his emotions? Like, we don't really know, even at the end of the season, right?
Hmm.
We just kind of see him have a good fight, right? Maybe the fight was kind of the closure, but his emotions are still very
Hmm.
much, I think, like up in the air, and I like that just as a story element. Just not every time do things get resolved, right? Not every time do you feel okay with yourself after actions. You might still feel messed up, but you do what you got to do. So yeah, shout out to Haru for just doing it afraid, as they say.
And I like that because what I like about his narrative of not killing, usually you get narratives of not killing, it's like I don't kill and it's almost justified. But his not killing has negative effects,
Yeah.
right? It's not always a good thing. Life, that's how he doesn't kill, but it
Hmm.
ends up biting him in the butt, in this sense,
Yeah.
his brother being killed because of his inaction. And I really enjoyed when stories do that,
Mhm.
where it's not so black and
Yeah.
white for that. Um, let's talk about the villain, Yosuke, and he's the one that wasn't killed, and he builds up to become the cult leader. And I love the approach, and I want to see your thoughts on this. Of rather than a straight up attack plan, he's slowly kind of manipulating the youth, right? Creating this kind of cult like kind of person. He reminded me of like a weird John Lennon type character. What did you think of the villain?
I like that weird John Lennon. If you watch Mob Psycho, there's a similar character like that, who kind of just garnered a bunch of gullible
Hmm.
youths. And I like the villain. Let's start there. I like slow play. I like when honestly, I like when the villain succeeds to a certain degree, because it makes the story feel a little more real, right? It's kind of what you just said with Haru. Like, the consequences are actually pretty real here. Even the end of the show, like the way it ended, like, no, 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 people die.
Hmm. Yeah.
Don't let that get swept under the rug. Like, this is pretty messed up. But that's why, I guess that's why you feel that the characters have even more of a reason to succeed, right? Or you even want them to succeed even more, because it's like, look, this isn't all rosy. That's not what's happening here. And what I like about Yusuke is, one, he just seemed like he was focused to the end, and then the scene at the end with his arm when he was trying to reattach it. I think it's probably top 5 scenes of this show for me that I've seen. It was just, he seemed so convinced by himself that he was a
Yep.
god, and I think it was nice to see that, right, all the way from meeting him to the end. He kept that energy of, I can't say the guy from Dune's name, but if I could, I would. Because he definitely felt God in his approach and his belief of self. And I think he was a great actor too. He really portrayed that, but both with the hair down, with the hair up, when he was fighting, when he was in Fuma costume, like, at all times I believed what he was selling, and I think he just did a really good job, of portraying what the Fuma clan, really took, what we could see represented, and I guess the hatred that they had, and all their revenge plans were all just like rolled up into his portrayal. So I think he did a really good job, to be very honest, and he went out like a boss as well for me.
No, yeah, I liked him because there wasn't this. Usually, a lot of villains can be two-dimensional, and you understood his like from his point of view. As much as he's crazy and twisted and has this kind of self-belief that he's a god, you almost understood where he's coming from, from the rivalry with the uh um with the family and their history. We find out about the scroll, about how the family's ancestor has stolen the scroll from the Fuma, and it's almost like, well, did the Tawara family, did they start this beef in the first place? It wasn't so black
Yeah.
and white, and I
Yeah, like I've been
yeah.
wrong. Mm.
I
You
really
agree?
like that. And I like that he wasn't a villain because, when you're introduced to him as this kind of cult style leader, you assume that he might be a villain that's just all talk and no action. But he's got some moves himself. He can fight when it comes down to it. He was kind of formidable. You know, usually it's just the right hand person, like the woman that was working for him, that's the tough person. But he was tough in himself, which I thought was really well done. And even like you said, his plan. I like the idea that we're kind of wondering, what is this plan? What is the eclipse? What's going on? And like you said, they thought they stopped the plan, but no, people still died. His plan kind of, you know, went to action. A whole bunch of people. I thought they were going to stop the deaths at the end, but nope. You realize that the whole plan was to switch out other people in power and take control. And let's go back a bit. See that we find out that Gaku had not died, the older brother, but in fact was saved by the Fuma and then manipulated to become a Fuma himself. What did you think of Gaku's narrative and journey?
Gaku. So I'll be honest. At first, I was internally I was upset. Why was I upset? I asked myself, did he have enough reason to betray his family? And I'm still mulling that question over, right? Like, and I get this is more a testament to the story, right, than not to it. I saw everything that happened, and I felt like Gaku, nah, man, you messed up, bro. You needed to go back home. I know. At no point do I feel like I stand with him, and it was a good portrayal by the actor, right? But I personally did not. It's black and white. So it's different when something is black and white, and it's different when something is like murky, right? And I didn't feel like he had a black and white. Oh, my family is bad. I'm going to join the Fuma. It was very much like, oh, oh, this is the Fuma. Cool. All right, I'm going to go back home. That's what he should have said for me. Now, moving past that, um, I, I like I like the elements like this. I like the uniqueness. I like that he lost a leg, for
Yes, yes,
example,
I love
right?
that.
I like that he ended up with the Fuma. I could see the brainwashing. Like I said, despite my initial comments, I understand they brainwashed him. Brainwashing is very real. They made him turn against his family. He started believing and drinking the Fuma Kool-Aid. That's all well and good. Some of my favorite moments of the show were also when he went back home. That's after Gaku was now alive and they were having dinner. And I think my man, little boy, Riku, he was the first one to ask him about the leg, right? Everybody was dancing around it, but he was just like, yo, how does it feel? And I thought that was also just a nice touch, right? Again, because like you said, Riku is very curious. I do have a lot to say about Riku. We can bookmark that. I love him so much because his curiosity was like, I feel like that's how all of us feel looking at the lives of these ninjas, right? He's just like, so if this stuff doesn't make sense, but like I need to ask, like, what is this? What is this? Oh my gosh, a guy with a broken leg or one leg, nobody's gonna say anything. Like, hello. So I really like, the interactions that I guess Gaku had with different people because then I think Gaku looked up and Grandma was just like giving him the evils. Like she was just staring him down. Obviously, she knew everything that was going on without actually knowing, right? Another reason why, again, I have so much to say about Grandma, but just to finish up on Gaku, the point being, I do like how you get to see different people's interactions with him because, for example, Nagi, she was obsessed with her older brother, right? She initially gave away the scrolls, wrong scroll, but she gave it away because she thought that was her brother. She was so like lost in the idea of her brother being alive that she was going to do anything. And then all of a sudden, this person you're looking for comes back, and you're like, this doesn't feel the way I wanted it to feel, right? So I think that was interesting too, right? Because she's been looking for her dead brother, and now her dead brother is there, and you're like, maybe he should have stayed dead. Like, I feel like that's kind of what at the end of the story you feel like is going through people's minds, and I think that's a very important story element, right? To all of this, like they dealt with the grief of losing the brother at the beginning, and then at the end they're dealing with the fact that, dude, maybe we should have just lost him. Like now he's actually alive, but he's worse to us alive than he was dead. So hats off to the story for that, because it's not an easy story element, I think, to bring across and to show different character perspectives of dealing with this source of the grief, being Gaku, his death and his life. But it's just, like I said, interesting to see how they all dealt with and are still dealing with the fact that he's alive. And unbeknownst to them, he's now the head honcho of head of Cobra. Cobra being obviously the Fuma. So yeah, that's those are my feelings on Gaku.
Yeah, no, I'm conflicted with Gaku because again, I like his narrative and I like the overall aspects of what the narrative does for the family dynamics. Like you said, and I like the fake out, right? With in terms of with the sister kind of believing that Gaku's alive, and we believe that
Yeah,
too. And then when you find out that it's not Gaku, we're like, oh, he's not alive, and then boom, he's alive. So it's like a double flip. I thought that was really smart to kind of do.
yeah, it's like,
But
I like,
I'm with you. I
yeah,
don't think, and this is a problem I had, and this is a nitpick, I will say. Again, as much as I like this show, I do have nitpicks. I think for me, they could have done a better job of us fully
yeah,
understanding why Gaku switches. And I think part of that you could have, because I think they almost did a better job setting up Haru to change and flip, because we start up the narrative with Haru kind of not liking aspects of the shinobi life. He wants to fall in love, he wants to have a normal life, he doesn't want that other life. you know and so his turn would have made more sense, if because I thought he was going to turn. I thought he was, when they started going to the meetings with the college kids, I thought he was going to turn there. And you know
yeah, or Yosuke.
and I almost wish they gave that narrative to Gaku, in terms of the narrative of him being like, this life of a shinobi is is yeah, it's taken
Continuously.
away from me, and I don't want this life anymore. So it would have made more sense for his turn. I think his turn was too abrupt. I don't mind the turn, but I think we could have spent more time for the audience to understand, like, damn, he went against his family, but I get it. I understand why he did that. Though I did like that they
Yeah,
kind of kept the point that as much as he turns, he doesn't want to hurt his family. That's the line he won't cross, and I did enjoy that. You know, and
yeah,
and in
yeah.
terms of his family, I also enjoyed the fact that the his parents weren't exactly blind to everything. They didn't kind of just welcome with open arms. They kind of have this conversation of, what if he's not the one that we thought he was? What if he has changed? And I like that. It wasn't like, oh, he's back, everyone, we love him. It wasn't that easy. They weren't they weren't stupid family, and I did appreciate that as well. Um,
For sure.
but I do like the idea that he ends up becoming the bad guy at the end. He's the head honcho, he's the boss, he takes over, because I think it
Yeah,
adds an interesting dynamic to season two, and it really plays on what this show really is about. It's about family, and I think that kind of gives more weight to the family dynamics. Um, let's talk about the grandma and grandson, two of my favorite characters in this show. I will say they don't really have major plot points, but I think they do enough to drive the plot forward. What do you think of grandma and grandson?
oh, finally, finally. Grandma is the absolute best. I think she deserves her own a show of her when she's younger, John Wick style. Figure it out. It's what's her name? An
All
Agent
right.
Carter type show. But again, separate story. Um, did you ever watch
Yes.
Sheldon Showdown?
Yep.
Because I don't know if you did, but this this son reminds me of the kid. Yeah, Riku. I saw Riku and my brain just screamed Sheldon Showdown. Like that's how I saw him. I envisioned him becoming just this young ninja, sorry, shinobi master. And I really like how he's used in this story. I think I said earlier that I kind of feel like he represents all of us a little bit, because everything that happened that was a little weird, like I think somebody opened like the panel door, secret door they had in their house, and grandma was moving real fast, but she's real old, and he's just always there, like peering, like, I mean, I'm young, but I'm not stupid, right? So I think I enjoyed that. I enjoyed the trail of that the whole way through, because he's also not like he wasn't
No.
an annoying kid, right? He wasn't just there being like, what are you doing? What are you doing? What's going on? Somebody talk to me. He just kind of was just like, okay, I mean, I'll just keep you like, I'm noting this down. Well, I'm going to note that down too. All right. The day I ask my 500 questions, I'll be ready, right? So he was really good in the story, and I'm just going between him and Grandma freely, because I like the pair of them together as well, right? The whole master student sensei relationship. I think is really good, because obviously we feel that we can tell that Grandma has a lot of skills. Quick notable shout out the episode
Mhm.
8, the final episode, the shadow fight. She had
Yeah.
like a 5-second shadow fight with the other grandma. It was very, very quick, but very, very excellently done. It was just, it said enough of what we needed it to say, right? Like, yeah, she is a pro. She doesn't have that much energy for long, drawn out battles, but if it's a short showdown, she doesn't lose. And I think that was just very well portrayed. And they obviously, I think a little cheeky with the fight itself, giving us the shadow version, but artistically, we enjoyed it. So I think we'll allow it. But my point being, her being the sensei to what I call Riku, I think is a great story point. And like I said, I would watch a show just about those two, right? Like I think there's so many things and sub stories that can come from just the dynamics between grandma and Riku, grandma and the parents, grandma and even Gaku and Aku when you were younger. Like there's so much I want to know about this family, and I think that's a testament to the show again, right? Like I'm actually interested in these people's lives as well as the fights, right? I actually want to know more about the Fuma clan. I want to know more about um, the original stealing of the scroll, right? Like I actually want to see everything, and they could take this as far as the fans will allow or the studio budget will. But yeah, what about you?
No, I loved Grandma. Every scene she was in, I thought she was perfect. You got the sense that, like you said, that even though she's an older lady now, oh, she still has some skills left. And, even in her younger days, she definitely had skills and she still has some knowledge now. And I like that she wasn't trusting of anybody. Even when Gaku returned, she's still giving those looks like, And I thought that was really, really great. And when I found out that
Okay.
she hid the scroll and she put a fake scroll, I was like, yes, Grandma. Even your family doesn't know the real scroll.
Yeah, just like perfect.
And I enjoyed
She was like,
nobody.
trust no one, not even myself. Like,
Or
come on.
even her
That dude is
no
good.
talking communication with the other grandmas, just like looking the looks. I thought that was great. And even though it's not explicitly said, you get the sense that she was the one that called the all female shinobi clan, the Guardians of the Demon Gate, when they come at the end in the red. I was like, ooh.
And yeah,
And I did
she
like the
was,
twist where you
she
realize that
was, she
it
was.
was one of the woman that the dad had hired
Yeah,
for the job. She was the guardian, and I like that because they were setting that up almost like a narrative of marriage infidelity. You're thinking something's going to set up there, that he's going to fall for this woman because he's feeling tension between him and his wife. But
exactly.
that wasn't the case. She was just another spy, and I was like, yeah, I like that. I appreciate that. That's
Hey,
really well
yo.
done. Um, what else? What else
I
to talk about?
agree.
Let's talk about some of our favorite moments. I don't know if you have any favorite moments, but obviously some of the favorite moments are going to come from fight scenes. Um, you mentioned about the club fight scene. I thought that was really well done. I thought that club fight scene was really intense. What did you think of the club fight scenes or any other fight scenes?
Club fighting was top tier, right? Just the whole the fast motions, the fast stabs, the counters, just everything about it. Using your environment, like I said, yeah, Batman will be proud once again. Just great hand to hand fights. I think even though so the I think my favorite like just inner nerd moment geek out fight was probably episode 6 maybe at the end when the father and the mother
Yeah.
were fighting together and they do this combo. I think he does a move and then he drops the sword and she picks it up and I was like, oh my god. It was one of the perfect combos. I think they did that combo
Hmm.
maybe once or twice more. Just the whole like partnership and fighting. It was so well scripted. I already mentioned the season 1 episode 8 grandma
Hmm.
quick shadow fight as I'm calling it. Right, it was like 4 seconds, but it was still just so good for what it portrayed. And then obviously last fight, but being
Hmm.
Haru versus Gaku, just a lot of times I was watching this show, and this is both my what I like about it and also a nitpick because it literally felt like an anime
Hmm.
adaptation in real life, right? And because some of the moments really just felt very much like, all right, final fight time. All right, now it's time for Haru to go down. All right, Haru,
Hmm.
find your inner motivation and give us your final move. But it was nice to see, right? Like we knew it was going in that direction, but I'm not complaining. Um, like I said, I only nitpick sometimes. Like it felt a little gimmicky every once in a while. Like some of the jumps, I could basically see
Yeah,
somebody being like
yeah,
pulled
yeah.
up as opposed to jumping in my mind. But like again, very 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 minor issues. I feel like they can refine all those kind of things. But in terms of just the fighting, yeah, the Haru versus Gaku fight, I think Haru. I was watching my wife, and she kept just mentioning every time Haru was in a fight scene,
Hmm.
he just felt so fast, right? Like I like how you could see the difference in everybody's kind of fighting styles. Like the father is like very very strong. You can tell. Like he's also fast, but he's more like a strong hitter, right? The mother is a little faster, but also strong. The sister is kind of agile, but like
Hmm.
Haru he's quick. That boy quick. So like I said, I really enjoyed that. I think his fighting style came through. Like he loves those like spinning kicks and like the counters, and Gaku's obviously a great fighter. And I just think that if we can, I keep just wanting the Naruto live action people to watch this show, and they don't have to do too much to not mess it up. That's how I feel. Like I watched this and I was like, you know what? I have faith. I trust the Shang-Chi director as well, but like I do have faith now that we can see ninjas in this like modern time, and it feels right. That's what all the fights said to me.
I think they did the good job of, like you said, highlighting the kind of mystical fantasy aspects of being a ninja. You know, the way they run and move in the shadows, and in terms of how they fight. I thought that was really really well done. And I don't know if it was just me, but every time Haru took his shirt off, I did not
Mm.
expect him to be that jacked. His chest and arms, I was like, holy shit. He's so jacked.
Yep.
Because he's always wearing like baggy clothes. So you're not really sure. Like, I was like, damn. And yeah, I think they did a good job, especially also with the mom and dad and their dynamic
I
as
agree.
parents. You know, they didn't take it down. They could have easily
Agree.
taken down like the soapy route of them always bickering and things like that. But no matter what they went through, you understood, especially when you saw their
Yeah.
fighting, right? They may have had indifferences in other aspects, but when it came to like protecting their family, protecting themselves, there was no question. This man and woman loved each other, loved their family, and would do anything for their family. And I thought that was again at
Yeah.
the forefront. The family
Yeah.
dynamics was still kind of leading the way, but yeah, the action sequences were just, I think, were really filmed really well. You know, the opening scene at the dock, seeing that flashback of them just running through the docks. You know, again, it
Agree.
had ninja moments. So you had the two ninjas running side by
That
side.
was
You know,
really good.
the animated, the anime ninja style running, and you know the sequences of one of the last fights at
Yeah.
the factory when you see the ninja stars, which they're not supposed to use ninja stars, but the ninja stars come.
Agree.
You're like, oh shit, where did this come from? I thought that was really, really well done. I like that a lot. But I also like the idea that this narrative, I mentioned it briefly at the beginning, that it blends the old and the new. You know, the ninja shinobi lifestyle is very traditional, very old, but we have to kind of adapt to new times and how things have changed, and they have to listen and follow orders like a spy military
Okay.
style agency.
Yeah.
But then by the end of it, we get a sense that
Yeah.
you think that it's going to end with Haru um, accepting a new life and moving on from that, but he doesn't. He almost like goes back to his ninja ways. It seems he doesn't end up with Karen. He leaves her alone and things like that, and he's almost like
Yeah.
realizes that I have no choices in this. I have to. It's almost like great power, great responsibility aspect to it. You
Yeah.
know, he realized he has to step up. Now he has to be the older brother. He's
Yeah.
almost like the middle child that has to learn to be the older brother. Where do you think the narrative goes from here, and how do you think of the ending?
I feel like there are two things that would be cool. So let's say option one, because now it's like, okay, Haru, head of his clan, his Gaku, head of rival clan, go at it for the next 100 years, kind of like Snake Eyes and his brother, who's never forgotten, the White Ninja. Yeah, Joe. Like that kind of like Naruto Sasuke forever rivalry. We're both gonna go at it, and honestly, the rest of the family just kind of picks their place because you could do so many things, right? Like some people could start to get swayed to Gaku's side. For example, the little sister. Like I feel like she's susceptible to Gaku's words. Like she chased him down for so long that she's not going to just find it as easily as the others to be like, oh, I hate Gaku now. She'd be like, no, let's find out why he did it, right? So there's a lot of interesting stuff I feel like they can do with that, right? And then I think again, still going back to Haru and where they go, like I said, it still feels like his mind is far from made up, right? Like we don't know his decision on Karen. Yeah, he walked away, but like maybe he called her the next day, right? We've seen shows do that before, right? Where season 2 starts, with him turning around and he goes into the room, I was like, oh damn it, right? So I'm not trying to make concrete guesses because it could be anything, right? But he definitely has unresolved emotions. What I think is most interesting about Haru's story is just like I said, the fact that he felt grief before because he essentially killed his brother, but now his brother is alive, but bad. So it's like, wait, do I now have to kill my brother? It's like, okay, it's a little like I feel like his brain is just gonna be throwing itself in like a loop because it's confusing. Like I don't know what to do now. Like, do I now fight my brother? Do I not fight him? Do I go and talk to him? Do I But it's not. It's nice to see that. I believe he's gonna make the right choice. I think he's gonna join his family. I think he's going to go back home and be like, all right, Dad, I'm sorry, but like we clearly have to stand together. And I don't know. It's a thing that I think gives them longevity. Like this show could honestly go on for quite a while, right? Like it could go up on the way up until Riku becomes older, right? And Riku starts to take over. Like there are so many ways it could spin off. It could even become spin off into multiple shows. So I think if anything, I do really like how open ended they left it. Like it does not feel resolved. It just now means that we know who the head of the Fuma clan is, right? I like that. I forget her name, the senator yeah, just going back to the red phone because I
No,
assume
true,
she was
true,
the one that
true.
called on the red phone at the end. But again, that's an assumption because no, it's gonna be two things. It could either be yes, she got rid of all the ex heads of the states, and one of them was in the room, and like the boy did, and now she is in control. Or like you said, there could be even more people that we don't know, and how how big does the spider web unravel to? So as you can see, I have a lot to say about this show because I actually love the fact that they've given us so many different story elements that we care about and that I want to see followed through, right? Like I want to know everything about honestly everybody. I don't think there's any character in the main family, right? And the Fuma clan, even the number one Fuma assassin lady, that woman who was originally pretending to be Gakko, Ayame, thank you. Like even Ayame, right? Like she's just, a little baddie who like pops out every once in a while and like does some bad stuff and pops out. But like, okay, I want to know more about her training in the Fuma. Like, why does she trust the Fuma hardcore? So yeah, the story elements have given us so many cliffhangers and just I guess I can't wait. I know it has to come back. It just has to.
I like that it leaves us with the younger brother also in training. I like all those
Ah, the
backflips
best.
he's doing. I'm like, oh, okay, that's the actor actually doing all those backflips. I
Mm,
like it.
yeah.
I thought that was really well done. And again, I think going back before we close out, going back to the villain's plan,
Sure.
I always like a good villain plan. And when you really break it down, they
Right.
had a great plan because you realize that the
Mm-hmm.
plan started 6 years ago. When they
Yeah.
kidnapped the senator lady, and it was all a
The
ploy,
senator.
the
Yep.
congresswoman, all a ploy to kind of when they break the whole plan was like when she gets rescued, then suddenly she's in the public favor because everyone's like, oh, she's the one that survived,
Yep.
so she moves up in the
Yeah.
ranks, only to find out this was all by design.
That
And you think at the
like
end that all the senators are going to get saved when
yeah,
Karen is
when
trying to
she's
stop
running to
everything,
hit the
but it
thing.
was too
Mhm.
late, right? I thought, okay, she's going to save everyone. Nope. The plan still
They
went
got me
through.
there.
Everyone still died. The eclipse still happened. And I appreciated that they kind of stuck to
Fulfill.
their guns with that and said, no, it happened. They
Yeah.
failed in their mission, so to speak. That was really well done. I think that's all we have to chat about. We could go on for ages. There's probably a lot more to talk about, but I think we've hit the main parts. As you can tell, we really enjoyed this show and looking forward to a season two. What do you nerdies think of this show? Find us on social media at the Nerdy Bunch. Let us know your thoughts on the characters, the narrative, what you liked and what you didn't like. We like to hear your thoughts. Um, thank you, Andrew.
You dude, it was a pleasure, and I look forward to season two.
Yes, and stay tuned at the Nerdy Bunch for more reviews. We have a whole bunch of reviews in the pipeline. I won't list them, but I'm pretty sure we're going to talk about what's that show now? Damn it, that I'm watching. Shogun, because that's
Shogun. I was like, it
another
has to
great
be Shogun.
series. Yes.
Fantastic.
But if there's any other shows that you nerdies are watching, also let us know at the Nerdy Bunch. My name's English Dave. This has been my co-host Andrew, and this has been a Nerdy Bunch review for Netflix original series House of Ninjas. And as always, everyone, keep it nerdy.